Hello, today we're going to be working on this Samsung dryer. We have an HE error code and the model number it's on the display. Welcome to DIY Repair Now. Read all the warnings, and during this video you will see one or more of these icons to help you do this repair safe. So the complaint is that the washer is given an HE error code and it just stops few seconds after you press start. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove the top panel. Okay, we're going to go ahead and set this to the side, and we're going to go ahead and pull this top front touchpad panel. And this is a very horrible design. You have to basically hit this part in an angle up, that way it doesn't break the taps. As you see, it has 4 taps right there, 1, 2, 3, and then the one on the other side. Now we're going to go ahead and disconnect the harness, the connections for the control board. Now let me tell you right now that I make 2 videos. This is the day of the diagnostic, and there's another video in the description of this video where it shows you when we came back to install the new parts. Okay, now we remove the screws from the top, and we just press those tabs to remove this front door panel. Now we're going to go ahead and disconnect. You have to hold this part of the door switch because otherwise it can fly away, and then you're going to have to end up buying a new switch. Hold it with one hand and disconnect the wires with the other hand. That's advised because it always breaks every time you try to disconnect that. Now over here I was trying to check the heat element because the homeowner was keeping saying that he thinks that is the heat element, but I kind of knew when he told me HE and when I saw the HE error code. What you saw right there is disconnecting the temperature sensor. I mean, that is the humidity sensor, the white harness that you just saw me disconnect. Now we'll remove the screws to remove this bracket, and also the screws to remove the lower wheels panel. Now there's some straps in the back that is holding the wire in place. They're like a plastic clamps, as you see right there. You can see a little bit. You just have to twist it to get it loose from the this bracket, metal bracket. Now we'll remove the last screw that is holding this drum panel. As you see, they're like a metal straps. Now you're just gonna go ahead and lift it up to remove this panel from the housing. And remember that this is the panel that has 2 wheels that is holding the drum. I'm sorry for the movement, guys, but it's really nothing much that I can do about that. I know it makes you dizzy sometimes, but once you remove, remember this drum is holding by those 2 wheels. Now you're gonna put your hand and you're gonna remove the bell. This is an example of how you remove the bell inside. Just stick your hand on the right side and you will be able to reach it. Once you do that, you remove this drum out of the way. Like I said, I'm doing this video kind of fast, guys, just to show you guys how to take it apart to be able to have access to the components and check everything else. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and disconnect 1 wire out of each thermostat and the heat element. That way we have a very good reading on our tester. Now we're going to go ahead and set our multimeter on to read ohms. And if we hear a beep, as you see right there, if we hear a beep, that means we have continuity. And then I'm pressing 1 in the actual heat element. And as you see, I'm doing all the testing. I'm now checking for ground, putting 1 on the case. Now I'm checking the high limit thermostat, and now I'm checking the cutoff thermostat. They all checked okay. So at this point, I'm kind of almost 100% sure that we have a problem with the Thermistor or with the actual board. But we're just gonna go ahead and check everything else because the customer is he thinks that it can be one of the thermostats or the heat element. Now I'm testing the switch that is on the motor, but this switch doesn't have anything to do with it. That switch is just for the belt. This would turn off if the belt breaks, and it will stop the washer from heating and turning. Now, like I said, everything checked. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and check power. I checked power before, but I'm just gonna put it here for you guys in the footage because this is the first thing you gotta do. You need to check the voltage, and as you see, I'm getting the right amount of voltage, 250, 240. For some reason, it was giving more than what it is, but then it will stay steady at 240. Now we're gonna go ahead and set this to read ohms, and this is another thermostat. This is the cycling thermostat, and the one right next to it is the Thermistor that I end up replacing as well with the board. Now you can use this video to perform the repair, but it's gonna be a link on the description of this video because I upload another video where I install the board and the Thermistor. Right now you're gonna see how we test everything. This is the Thermistor that I replaced, and also the main computer board. Now we're gonna go ahead and make sure the switch inside the motor is fine. The one you saw me pressing right now, it was just press it down. Just put one lead where those red wires are coming out on the harness, and you should get ohms when you press the motor. And again, everything is checking fine. At this point, I'm just trying to satisfy the customer because it's very hard for him to believe that that motor is bad. But I'm checking everything again. See, everything is giving me continuity, and you can hear the beep right there. So at this point, we already know that we have to replace the board and the Thermistor. Now, in a lot of places says that it can be the Thermistor, but I'm having very hard trouble with replacing Thermistors because most of the time there is not the Thermistor and is the main computer board. So to be on the safe side, I just install both. You can watch the video in the description. You can click the video in the description of this video when we came back and install the board, or you can click the arrow and there will be a card right there on the top right. As you see in this footage, there's the two parts that I replaced, and it's very self-explanatory. Like I said, you can use this video and perform this repair, or you can go and click the other video where I came back and I basically redid everything except that I replaced the main computer board and also the Thermistor. Now we're just gonna go ahead and verify because, like I said, the main computer board is kind of expensive to replace, especially if they're paying for the repair and you're not doing it yourself. Now we're gonna go ahead and put this belt back since we already put the drum in place, and that's how you put the belt back and the motor and also the pulley. Once you do that, we're gonna go ahead and start putting everything back together because we have to order the part, and the part is gonna take a couple of days. Once we're already here, we're gonna try and clean up a little bit because there was a lot of land in it, and you saw how it was going all over the place. Now we're gonna go ahead and put this drum panel, and you got to make sure you put the wheels in the bottom of the drum because that's the way it goes. Once you do that, just look for the holes where the panel sits on, and then just secure it with the screws. Now, the reason why I'm making 2 videos is because I've been getting a lot of comments where some technicians want to learn more about more troubleshooting, but again, I do most of my videos for DIY people, DIY homeowners that want to do their repair themselves. So this video shows you a little bit more troubleshooting, where I go to the thermostats and I just don't trust my knowledge, and because I already know. Now I'm checking the door switch again. Since it's turning off for a little while, I know that this switch is fine, but I'm just doing a third checks, and like I said, please the customer, because like I said, he's a little skeptical of thinking that it can be the board, but I've been doing this for a long time, and like I said, I replace both of them, and then I just remove any possibility that the customer is gonna have another complaint. Now there's the humidity sensor, connecting it back. Don't forget to connect the humidity sensor, because that humidity sensor is the one who sense when it's wet clothes in there. So if you don't connect that piece, the dryer is not gonna dry, it's just gonna turn off in about a minute once you got it running. Now this is another thing that I want to give you advice. Don't put this from door panel until you put this bracket that you see me working on, because then it's going to be in your way. The door is going to be in your way. So go ahead and set this bracket in place and put all the screws, and then the last thing, put the door, because I did it backwards. And like I said, this is one of the things that you don't realize that it can happen. As you see, I got the door right there. I'm trying to fish the wires back in place, and it was just giving me a hard time because I was supposed to put this metal bracket first instead to put the door, as you see right there. So I'm just trying to give you a little bit of idea. See, that's the screw that it was giving me a hard time, so I have to get the door loose again, but you get the idea. And also don't forget the 2 screws that goes by the lamp filter. At this point, we're pretty much done putting this thing back together. The reason why I put it back together is because it was a weekend and I was coming back until Monday, and sometimes the customer changed their mind and they start chopping around and said, hey, you know what, I decided to get a new one. So I put everything back together. But again, I know I said it a couple times, if you want to see the video where I came back and replaced the board and the thermistor, because you want to make sure that's what it is, the HE air code, go ahead and click that video and the link that I put in the description of this video. As you see, now it came on, and the customer was kind of happy, but then it pops the HE error code again because the board is bad. Well, that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching.